Mics are on.
Live, episode 2.
That's episode 2. So yeah, welcome to the next episode of the podcast. I'm clapping there, I don't know what's going on. So yeah, rather than jumping straight into it, we'll have a bit of a catch up. Like I say, I've been back training now a little bit from coming back off an injury. Starting to feel good, and
let's talk about injuries.
That's it. Yeah, let's talk about it. Unfortunately, you managed to sort of catch an injury this weekend as well, haven't you?
Caught an injury for sure. Exploded my knee.
Yeah. Didn't like say when you text me about it, I was like fucking threw me off, caught me off guard to be honest at first. Knee injuries, like that's one injury for me that's always scared me, to be honest, like really scared me. That on my neck is like injuries that I'm really terrified of.
Yeah.
Ankles, elbows, wrists, fucking shoulders. I'll ignore them and train through them.
Yeah.
But yeah, when it comes to my neck or my knees, I personally get really terrified about them.
Yeah. These things happen, don't they,
man?
Yeah. If you play with fire long enough, you get burnt.
No, that's it, yeah.
The first few days were really tough.
Yeah.
Accepting that I'm not going to be training for a long time. But once I got over that, to be honest, I feel okay. And just pour my energy into coaching and accept I'm not going to be training.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I guess because you're like quite you're an observant player anyway when you're on the mats and watching people train and roll. Do you find that when you're say not training, you take a lot from observing, watching people, and like taking away from that? Like, what's your perspective on that?
Yeah, I'm always analysing stuff every day anyway. So yeah, not the only thing that's going to change is just me not training. So.
Yeah. No, it's one thing that I found returning back to rolling and stuff just from watching what everyone else is working on and seeing how they're moving. I feel like I'm seeing things a little bit differently anyway, and I'm trying new things again now and sort of playing a bit differently. Just one thing that whenever I've had like a bit of a prolonged break away from things, is I come out from a different angle. Obviously, in the first few weeks, timing's off, conditioning is going to be a little bit different, and I find it quite anxiety inducing to sort of try and overcome them hurdles over them first couple of weeks. So like, what do you have like any sort of things that you do when you're coming back from injuries?
From an injury, probably just going to drill for a couple of weeks and just drill for a few weeks, just not spar. That's the one thing I'm going to do now.
Yeah. Not fair.
Fancy.
But with that sort of like thing that we're moving on to, like we've been looking at a lot of scenarios and stuff in the gym recently. We've had a few questions regarding competition. So we sort of spoke about this, and probably going to be the main focus of today's episode. So I think we'll probably get started and jump straight into that then with what's your personal take on competing, and take that as you sort of want to take it, whether it's whether people should compete more or whether you like competition or just, what's your personal take on it?
I think you just got to think about why are you competing. Like a lot of people focus on in terms of the medals, in terms of for a new social media post, to impress people in the gym. The coach they think their coach wants them to compete. These are all what things and not actually why. Like that intrinsic reason of why they're competing. And I think people end up feeling worse for going through that process instead of saying, actually, why am I competing?
Yeah.
Is it to test my skills in like a battle arena? 100%. Like, does it actually mean anything to me winning a gold medal on Saturday? In a run-down leisure centre? If it doesn't, maybe not compete. Maybe just train for a period of time. For me personally, competing doesn't really mean anything. It hasn't for a long time. At white and blue belt, it meant a lot more to me because it was like a new sport and it was exciting. But once I got a few losses under my belt and a few wins, and I kind of settled into submission grappling, I felt like it's not really for me to jump in it too much because there's a lot of things with the competition scene that I just don't really kind of get behind. The medals for one, I think if you took them out, I think a lot more people would jump into regular competing. I think people hype them up way too much. Like they come second and they're like, oh, I lost. Oh, I come third. I got bronze. It's like, mate, you're there. You're competing. Like people compete every week in football, rugby, and these type of sports, and never kind of come away disheartened. But people seem to put too much pressure on themselves, I think.
So do you think with that then, like people put too much emphasis on getting the medals then, as opposed to the process of getting there?
Way too much. Not just the medals, but even just the competition itself. That it's this abnormal, massive, huge thing. I mean, if you take social media out of it, you'd be lucky if 5 people are there on the corner of the mat genuinely supporting you. Whether that's your mum, whether that's, your auntie or your real close friends and your coach, if he bothers turning up. It doesn't really matter that much, and it's also something that you do all week anyway.
Yeah.
So it shouldn't really be that big of a deal to do it in public.
No,
we'll talk more about that.
Yeah, like we'll jump onto that take later. I kind of agree with you on that, because when I first started competing, like earlier in the belts, for me it was more for the watts. So like you say, the
team.
Yeah, doing it for the team, how it looks to people like externally. Getting that Instagram post, getting the medal, getting the sort of, what's the word? Getting the glory, essentially, without realising how short-lived it is, and putting like a tremendous amount of pressure on myself, and essentially not actually enjoying the process and actually enjoying the journey. I'll be honest, like I personally find competition and like competing quite anxiety inducing. Always have since the very first time I did it. There was a period when I didn't find it that bad, and I managed it quite well, and I think that's when I found my proper why. But like, I kind of feel like I put a lot of pressure on myself to succeed rather than go out there and play and perform well.
Just express your skills.
Yeah, and I think for me, like a real eye opener for me was my last match that I had with Ed over at Fighting Fit. Took it on 4 or 5 days' notice. Hadn't put the gi on in properly for a couple of months, and I got offered the match because I messaged you at first see if you fancied it.
No.
Yeah, it's like the gi now. And I sort of realised how difficult it can be to find like sort of opponents at our weight and experience, and I was like, do you know what? Fuck it, I'll do it. And because there was I didn't feel any pressure on myself to win. It was like I just wanted to go out there and play, perform, and give Ed a match, because I've trained with Ed before. He's no training partner, top solid guy, and I was like, no, I just wanted to go out there and play. And I didn't come away with a win, but I went in there with a lot less anxiety, a lot less pressure on myself, and I feel like I performed really well. And like say he won with a sweep at the end, which fucking really well played. But yeah, I came out of that match afterwards like feeling elated because I felt that I put on a great show. There's a few from the gym that turned up to watch it, even though I tried to keep it a little bit quiet because again I didn't want to put the extra pressure on myself. But yeah, no, it's probably one of the matches that I've actually really enjoyed doing, as opposed to again building it up and being full of that sort of anxiety beforehand. But yeah, because me personally, I do think that everybody should compete at one point. More so in the sense that like you learn a lot about yourself during that process, whether it's the build up, and how organised you are with your training, how much commitment you're going to put into it, how disciplined you're going to be with getting your weight down, and also managing those stresses around it, and also then how you show up on the day. Like, do you crumble under the pressure, or are you going to sort of stand tall and face it head on? And both of those things happen to every athlete, I think, especially the more they compete. Because that first time competing, like, I know there's a few that don't really get that competition anxiety, but for most people that compete,
Who doesn't get the competition anxiety? Psychopaths.
Yeah, I think there's one person I've spoke to who doesn't get it, who didn't get it from day one. I say we both know him. Yeah, and he like, and he just went out there, just looked at it as business.
Is he a psychopath?
No, he's I think he's just he's just gone through other challenges where he's kind of like going, it's just a grapple, and I think he's got to that point in his life with his own journey where he's kind of going, it's just turning up to grapple in a sports hall. Whereas if you've not already got to that point in your life already, you are going to build it up, aren't you, in your head, and look at it as this massive, grand, major thing.
Yeah.
And then once the match is over, you've done your Instagram post, 2 days later,
no one gives a fuck.
Yeah, no one cares.
Absolutely no one gives a fuck.
Like, and the only people who really do that kind of like come around you and care about it are more often your teammates. And if you win, they're buzzing for you. If you lose, they want to help you sort of get better for the next one.
They're happy you've had a crack.
Yeah.
They're really not bothered that you lost. They don't think anything less of you.
No, not at all. And like I say, it's conversations we hear all the time on the mats, isn't it? It's like, oh no, well, and it's more they kind of going, you did X, Y, and Z well, and they're trying to give you where you played well, because more often than not, it's fucking hard enough getting out there and competing on the mats.
Yeah.
So yeah, like when it comes to sort of the competition anxiety, then like, how do you tend to address that?
I just accept that it's going to be there. You know, that it's pretty normal, I think, for most people to feel some anxiety.
Yeah.
And just accept that it's going to be there regardless throughout the process. Use it to your advantage to try and just channel that energy in the right way. None of that like bullshit like self-talk or anything like that, but just accept that it's going to be there and you're going to be nervous. I mean, you're competing against a stranger, aren't you? Or strangers if you've got a bigger bracket. What strategy do they use? I mean, other than accepting that it's going to be there, I don't think there's much other things I do.
Do you do do you adjust your warm up maybe slightly, or do you have a playlist that you put on, or is there anything sort of?
No, I don't listen to music, nothing. I just I probably run through a few scenarios in my head, worst case scenarios, blowing my knee out, losing in 30 seconds, winning in dominant fashion. I run through some scenarios in my head, rationally ask myself how have I been training the last 6 months, and say, okay, that's most likely been happening on the mat against that tier level guy. So if I'm, for example, if I'm a purple belt and I'm doing quite well against the other purple belts and I'm in a purple belt division, then most likely the matches are going to go that way. If I've been losing, then I'm probably going to be honest with myself. I know a lot of people don't do that.
Yeah.
Which is why they get so nervous, because they're not really judging the training and crossing over.
Yeah.
They're just like, oh, I want to really well, it's a competition. I don't know what I'm going to do. I'm nervous. But if you have a rational brain around the situation, so I tend to do that and calm the nerves a little bit of this is going to be tough.
Yeah.
And just get ready for a tough day. And everything seems probably a bit easier. I'm not expecting a tough day.
That's just quite funny as well. And you did that where you did what everybody does on competition day when it's like, I'm going to compete. Like you went like dead stiff and stiffened up, and it's like that's common as fuck to see in competition day, isn't it? Like you see the few that are warming up when they've got the headphones on, like quite loose, and then as soon as you step onto that competition mat, it's shoulders stiffen up, head stiffens up, and the kind of fuck. And sometimes you can see the adrenaline sort of coursing through them, and they have them sort of like shakes. Because for me personally, with the anxiety, I have like a very different sort of routine. So one thing I read about this years and years ago, and it's something that's always kind of helped me, because like on competition day or on that build up to that competition day, I will sometimes get that surge of like anxiety where it's kind of like my heart will start racing, my mind will go a bit foggy, and I'm like, okay, this is. But it's also a feeling that I recognise that when I step onto that competition mats, if I don't prepare and like get ready for it, I'll have this same surge.
Yeah.
And it always, regardless of how it is, just leaves me feeling just drained and empty.
What when you do your match? Match?
when I do that first match, like, yeah, and I can sort of get those emotions as well, like sort of on the week.
Do you ever do like a hard warm up half an hour before or not? Yeah.
Yeah. So when I do a really hard warm up, I find that takes that away from it completely. Yeah. And I feel much more prepared physically and mentally to go into it. But I also, when I feel these emotions coming up before the match or before match day even, I'll try and do like breathing exercises. So in my head, I'll sort of recreate like what I visualize as like competition. So I'll visualize my opponent standing opposite me. I visualize
being 2-0 up with it.
Yeah, 2-0 up, going fuck. Just stay there. Let me get my points quick. And also, like, I'll picture a crowd around the mat, but more often than not, you're probably going to have between 5 and 10 people watching. Yeah, you don't have a fucking clue what's going on. But I'll picture like a bigger crowd there.
To almost,
get
up.
Yeah. Just stand up. It's easy. Just stand up.
You gotta move. Good one, dickhead.
Yeah. Can't fucking move. My hips are stuck. and I'll try and like get a bigger emotional rise out of myself, and then I'll use like deep breath techniques and sort of almost try and normalize that scenario in my head. So as I'm breathing and bringing my heart rate back down, I can feel like the adrenaline surge sort of easing off, and I feel a lot less drained. And it's something
this will
be a few days before. And when I recognise that happening, I'll try and recreate it personally myself as well, to try and get those feelings and get in the practice of breathing, bringing it down, breathing, bringing it down. So when I do have it on competition day, I'll try and bring it on about 2-3 hours before the actual match. So then I'm kind of already prepared for it mentally.
Yeah.
Then I'll do my hard warm up, and I go out there and I feel much more physically and mentally prepared from doing those kinds of exercises. But also another thing that I tell myself, similar to you saying, like, if I'm training with like purple belts, I'm in a purple belt division and I'm doing well, or if I'm doing bad, it'll sort of give me an indication of how I'm going to perform. I'll always tell myself as well that like nobody's going to push me harder than anybody in the gym.
Yeah.
So I kind of go in there with that mentality of the hard work's fucking done. Like, I've got people that I'm training with that are fucking killers that are really trying to take my head off and really trying to beat me. And if I'm doing well with these guys, no fucker out there is going to be able to push me to the same extent.
Yeah.
And whether that's true or not, it's, for me, that's something that like I feel like you convince yourself and you tell yourself that. And you should, in my head, you should always put your training partners on a pedestal above your competitors, because you're with them day in, day out. They know your game. They know how you play.
That's if you're not avoiding the tough
rounds.
That's it,
yeah.
If you're avoiding the tough rounds, you won't feel that way.
Yeah, you definitely won't. And like, if they're putting you into sort of like bad situations and you're working out of it, or you're letting them work you into bad situations and then you're working yourself out of it, like, you can go in there with that confidence of, they're not going to fucking put me there because my training partners have fucking put me there day in, day out. I'm used to it. And I think that as well gives you some extra kind of resolve that you have, that I'm going to fucking do well here. Yeah. And it takes the pressure off the result and puts it more on the performance.
That's a big thing. I think people are very obsessed with the result.
Yeah.
And not the whole process.
Yeah.
That's massive.
Yeah, definitely. And I think, like you say, the process is the key part. And once you take away the pressure from that result and you just go, I want to go out there and play. I want to perform. I want to show my skill set, and I want to give my opponent a good match. If they beat me, I want them to go into the next match absolutely fucked and potentially lose that match because they faced me first.
Yeah, it's never a good sign when you finish a match and you're not tired.
Yeah.
That's not good. Or wishing you'd done more.
Yeah. So, and I'll be honest, I've had a lot of matches where I've come out afterwards kind of going, I didn't perform well. I wish I could have done more.
They happen plenty of times, don't they?
So while we're on that subject, have you got any sort of favourite and least favourite sort of matches or comp experiences that you've sort of gone through?
Let's go least favourite first. Least favourite was probably just getting my ass handed to me in the early days. I think I was a blue or white belt, can't remember. One of those. And it just weren't my day, this particular day. And I think I got tapped in like under a minute twice on the same day with guillotines, and it was embarrassing. Probably the worst day, because I thought I was going to do well. I was doing well in the gym, things were ticking along good, and then you turn up and you just get your fucking ass handed to you. And the other guys, to be fair, were just way better than me, and it was tough to take. But I was back in the gym on Monday trying to correct my guillotine defense. And trying to get better. And the coach at the time could even see that I was fucking really down. And he was like, look, don't be fucking down about it. Just get in a fucking guillotine and practice the defense.
Yeah.
Be rational about it. But that was probably my least favourite. But ended up being a good experience to grow from, for sure. Again, probably best comp is probably two in my mind. One of them just having a really good day and just getting all subs and just things clicking. I was at blue or purple belt. Nothing in particular on them days. Just getting 3 subs out of 3 matches and just steamrolling through people. And then I would say the other one was like a 20-minute rule set comp I did in New Zealand, which was really cool. I had 5 matches that day. Came second overall.
Oh man,
5 20-minute matches, which was fucking crazy.
Yeah, so fucking long time.
So I did it under 100 kilos. I think I was about 93 or 94, and there was only 2 of us in the division. We didn't know.
Yeah.
So we had our first match and it went 17 minutes. And we got him with a rear naked after 17 minutes, and I was gassed. And then like the ref comes over and he says, "You're gonna have 10 minutes break and you're gonna face off again against each other." And I was like, "Fucking hell!" So I had a break and went back out, and I actually pulled guard. So I was like, "Fuck this guy is fucking big." Pulled guard, got to work. But that day was just great because it just made me, the amount of time that I could do competition jiu-jitsu from 20-minute rule set was just like it massively leveled up where I thought I was at.
Yeah.
Like 5 20-minute matches on one day. Like I would have said that I could do that, but actually doing it against strangers was really good. I will rewind a little bit and go over the worst weight cut I've ever had for a competition, which was I cut from 94 to 88, stupidly. Fuck knows why. I hadn't competed for a little bit, and I thought, I'll just trim down, I'll do 88, and I'm fucking big, massive mistake. About 2 days out of it, thought I was going to die, and I've never checked who's in my category, because I just don't do that. So I'm fucking dying. I have like a work to do the night before, and I'm on like fucking 0 calorie lemonade. I leave after half an hour. I was pissing off. I go home and eat like salmon and green beans. I'm like Khabib, fucking cutting weight. And I genuinely thought I was going to die. That was just the worst I've ever felt. And I was like, why the fuck did I do this? But I was like too committed to pull out. And I was like, I can't pull out. It's embarrassing. So I rock up. It's in Auckland in New Zealand. And I rock up there. And they're like, oh yeah, Johnny Malloy, no one's in your division. You're going to have to do under 100. And I was like 87.9. And I was I didn't even say anything. I literally had a couple of nuts, and in my head, I swear to God, I was like, someone's gonna die today.
Yeah.
I was like, someone's getting
Take it all out.
And then I won three from three.
Brilliant.
But I was fucking on one. Something happened where I was just like a fucking animal.
Yeah.
Because I was just like, had that full week of just grim cutting weight. And then ever since then, I've never ever dropped down after that. That was by far the worst.
I say the suffering will fucking bring something different out of you, won't it? Especially if it's you find out it's all to be against under 100 kilos.
So I did 3 matches, and the third match so they're all 7 minutes, so only matches. And in the third match, we went to a draw, and the ref said, "Have 5 minutes and come back out. You can do a no time limit." And that went another 3 minutes, and I subbed him. After that, I was supposed to do the absolute, and I just left. I just left. I said, "I'm off," and they're like, "Why?" I said, "I'm booked. I'm gone." I just left. So, yeah. What about yourself, mate? What's your worst and best competition experiences?
Couple of worst ones. Like a more recent one was a match I had with James Duckett. Trained with him a couple of times and really good training partner and top competitor as well. And I'd been coaching all day at Empire, and I made the mistake of thinking that I could coach all day and then.
Was this a few months ago?
Would have been last August, I think it was. Yeah. And I was there, I think I was coaching a match, and then I heard someone shout my name, going, "Oh, Si, you're on in a couple of minutes." I was like, what the fuck? I was literally in my coaching gear, like shorts, t-shirt, fucking barking orders, and I was like, fuck, yeah, I had to run off to the bog, drop a deuce. But yeah, literally went over, got changed, put my gear on, and I went onto the match cold, and I hadn't even had time to process going from coaching mode to competing mode. And as soon as we sort of slapped hands and sort of made that connection, I just had nothing. Yeah. And
just drained.
Yeah.
Was that the first time you've ever coached and competed? Sorry. Like on the same day, like
I've done it a couple of times before, and I'd always sort of said that I can't do it. But I think last year I was just keen to get just a match. I just really wanted to do it, yeah. And there was just an opportunity to do it, so I was like, fuck it, I jumped on for it. And it was just as soon as I made the connection, it took me down, took me back, and I just wasn't responding or like fighting with the same degree of fight that I normally would have. And this didn't take away from James either, like, because he played his game plan perfectly and he beat me fucking fair and square with it. For me afterwards, it was more the fact that I couldn't give him a match. Like, he'd gone out there and he'd prepared. Oh yeah, like I'm sure he didn't mind taking the win. I said, yeah, fucking nice and easy. Subbed me, took me back and choked me, and I was like, right, fair play. But like, I was so annoyed at myself that I didn't perform. And for me, it was like, I thought that was disrespectful to him as an opponent, that I wasn't able to show up on the day properly and give him the match that he deserves, that he's been preparing for. Like I said, I'm sure he's obviously happy that he took the win with relative ease. But yeah, for me, that was like a really big stab. Like, it's still one that I remember where I'm kind of going.
It's embarrassing, isn't it?
Yeah.
It sticks with you.
I felt really embarrassed about it. And there's like other times where during purple belt, I went on like a good run where like I was medaling, I was competing every other week or like at least once or twice a month. I'd won British Open, I'd won IBJF London, won a load of local tournaments, and like division and absolutes, and I was doing really well competing. And this is like a bit of a weight cutting story. And I think it might have been a couple of months in the bounce where I'd done it. And I think I just hit like a wall.
Flat point,
yeah. And I had a competition coming up the next weekend. And I just couldn't bring myself to do it. Like mentally, I was really struggling. And even to the point where I was on weight for all this time. And after my last competition, I can't remember which one it was, but I remember like I'd won the division. I think I'd won the absolute. And I just finished it, and I started the day 90 kilograms and I ended the weekend at about 102, 103 kilograms just from binging, like eating everything I could eat after the competition. Yeah, like I just went fucking wild and out, like just completely out of control. And then Monday hit, and I was like, "Fuck, I've got to get rid of 10 kilos before next weekend." And my head started to fucking go then, and then started doing drastic things, cutting carbs out, not eating as regularly, trying to water load. And I think I shifted about, because a lot of it would have been digestive weight and like just glycogen stores, and I shifted about 5 kilos over the course of 2 or 3 days doing that. But mentally, again, it was just taking its real like toll on me. And I texted the coach at the time, and he rang me straight away and was like, "Don't worry about it." And he just literally spoke me through it. He's like, "You're doing this every fucking week. You're going out there. You've got the adrenaline surge after, before you go on the match. You've got the dump afterwards. You're going out there competing regularly, and it is going to take a mental toll on you." And his advice was to me, he was like, "If you don't want to do it, just don't do it today. Just pull out."
Yeah.
And for me, when he said that to me, it's almost kind of like I needed that permission of somebody else to sort of be like, "I don't have to do this." And I pulled out, and then all of a sudden, all that stress and all that weight that I felt just disappeared.
Yeah.
And like, I was so grateful at the time for that just them few words of advice. You might not have recognised how much of an impact it had on me, but I just felt like, fucking hell, I can relax now.
Yeah.
And for me, that's another memory where it's like really, really sort of sticks out. I've got one more as well, and this was, to be honest, I entered the world when I went into the world just for a trip to America. To be honest, like I had the money at the time, I'd managed to sort of arrange so I can get the time off, and Worlds were in LA, and I was like, fuck it, I need an excuse. Like I didn't need an excuse to go, but I was like, no, I'm going to enter this and see how I get on. And about a week or two before sort of flying out, I got promoted to brown belt, and I felt ready. Like I was doing really well in the gym, I was winning loads of rounds. This was no gi. And I was like, fuck it, I'm really, really like physically ready. Mentally, I think I still had more time. I could have prepared better for it. And got to the arena.
In what way though? Was you a bit undercooked? Was you a bit undertrained?
I think physically I was like prepped, like conditioning was right, strength felt right, my rounds were going really well with a variety of good training partners. But I don't think I took the competition seriously enough for that one, especially for me. I'd made so much of an investment to get there.
More of just a trip than the actual, I'm scrapping.
Yeah, I looked at it as a kind of, I'm going to America.
Shiny.
Yeah, this shiny little experience that I can almost kind of be like, oh yeah, I went to the Worlds, and almost boast about. Yeah. And yeah, got to the arena, and to be honest, I was a little bit starstruck. Yeah. Like walking through the corridors, you've got Cyborg just walking past you, you've like Gordon Ryan's there, you've got all these like big names, like I can't remember, like there was just who's who of jiu-jitsu was there, and I was a bit like, fucking hell, I'm here, like fucking hell, this is amazing. And I remember sort of like getting into the bullpen, making weight, and I was kind of like going a bit too relaxed here. Like I'm not like
it's the worst.
Yeah, I just wasn't turning myself up mentally. I wasn't like I was warm, but I just wasn't engaged. Yeah, and first opponent got to the mat side, and I remember this really vividly because Gordon Ryan was competing on the mat next to me, and I was looking over watching, and I was like, this is just fucking amazing. This, like, I was just almost taken in too much by the environment. Stepped onto the mat, slapped, bumped hands, got holds, clinched around for a little bit, and he took me down, got into top half guard, and I just couldn't move him. And again, I was just I was in the match training, like, having it, like, engaged in the match like it was a training round, and I was figuring things out and playing. Yeah, and there was no sense of urgency there. And eventually, sort of isolated my arm and submitted me, walked off. And the annoying thing about it was I wasn't disheartened by the loss. I was happy that I was in LA at the Worlds competing, but I didn't have to do anything to actually enter the competition. I just had to jump on a flight and pay my entry ticket for the thing. There was no qualification. There was no kind of sense of achievement in being there, but I'd convinced myself that there was.
Yeah.
And like the rest of the trip, I was like, after the match, and I sort of got back to my hostel, and I sort of sat there, and I finally sat there and processed, and I was like, I've just wasted a fucking really good opportunity here. Like, I've really fucked up. And that's when it really dawned on me. And again, this is why it really sticks out in my mind of the negative experience. Like, don't get me wrong, the trip in LA was amazing. Like, I've got some fucking fantastic memories. And like going to the arena to watch the matches live and being amongst like world champions and the elite of the elite. But I didn't deserve to be there. But I'd convinced myself that I did.
Well, you did deserve to be there.
Yeah, but I mean, like, in the sense that I kind of thought I was there. Like, I thought I was like, oh, fucking hell, yeah, I'm competing at the Worlds.
Yeah.
I didn't have to qualify for it. I just, like, turned up. Whereas I was kind of almost kind of bigging myself up before I'd even done anything there.
Yeah, so sometimes it's just not your day, is it?
Yeah.
Sometimes it just is your day. You can just have people's number.
Yeah.
And they're just not there. And you can go away and think, oh, I was really good that day. And actually, the other guy just wasn't on. He was just flat.
Yeah.
And you just was on and he wasn't.
Yeah, and I've taken, like, big lessons, more so from, like, those experiences than the times when I've won.
In the wins,
yeah. Like, because I've had some fucking really good experiences from winning. Like, remember?
And you can feel empty from the wins too.
Oh, 100%.
When you get some good wins, you can, like, I won, but it's quite boring. It was a boring match, or even if you have a really good match, like, I won, but it didn't hit as much as I thought it'd hit.
Yeah. No, and you fucking nailed it on the head with that. So I say I've had some wins where, just walked off, wasn't happy with the performance, but again, convinced myself that I was happy with it because I'd won. But then upon reflection, I'm like, yeah, but it didn't really do fucking much.
Yeah.
Whereas the wins that I've had to really fight for are the ones that I really remember and the ones that I look back fondly on. So, like, my match with Jordan Desborough last year, I fucking really enjoyed that match. Like,
it's a barn burner.
Yeah, I fucking loved it. And just the way, like, because in my head I'd mentally prepared, I was like, I'm here for a fight. I'm not here for a jiu-jitsu match. I'm here for a fucking scrap and a fight. And as soon as we both walked onto the mat and the way he shook my hand, I could tell straight away that Jordan was on that as well. Yeah. And I was, in my head, I was just fucking jumping for joy. And I was like, this is just going to be a fucking great scrap. And I'm here for it. And that's probably one of my favourite matches I've had, along with the one with Ed. Do you know what? Another really a match that I really enjoyed doing, and for me it wasn't the result and the performance, it was the outcome afterwards, where I fought my old coach Cam in a match before I'd even met him, and I think we met each other in the final of this tournament, and he'd come out and I'd heard his reputation of he's a good wrestler, and I was like, fuck it, I'm going to try and take him down. And I just sort of went out there with that kind of like mentality of, I'm here for a match, I'm here for fun. And I went in there, wrestled around a little bit. He tried to throw me, I think I might have stuffed one, but then he just fucking lap dropped me straight away and got to side control. And they ended up beating me with head scissors. As soon as that match ended, jumped up and I was like, I'm coming to train with you on Monday. I knew we had a gym not too far.
Yeah.
And like I say, that was like where the start of that relationship happened. And like I say, if I hadn't done that, like, I wouldn't have met yourself and the other training partners that I've met there. And yeah, that was like another really like big lesson for me. It was like, the world or the jiu-jitsu world like big enough for you to go and train with the people that you get beat by, and learn from them, because they're obviously doing something fucking right, whether it is the mental game or the how they're training. And that's been something that I've always tried to adopt ever since that day. Or if someone does something good to me, or they beat me, or whatever, I'm gonna fucking go learn off them. I'm gonna go and grab them, speak to them, network, fucking train with them, whatever it is. I'm just always gonna fucking try and do that.
Yeah, that's a good message, not to get down in the dumps and start kicking the dog.
That's it. Yeah, yeah. That's it. You can't be mad at what's happened. You can just look back and be like, okay, how can I change? How prepared? How can I change? Like, how can I change the outcome for next time? Not how can I beat myself up over the last outcome.
I got battered and I'm shit and poor me. That's not going to help anyone.
No,
definitely not yourself.
No, not at all. So with like the competition scene, sort of like it's gone over a lot of change over this past 12 months. So what are your thoughts on the sort of professionalisation of jiu-jitsu now and grappling, like how it's been over the past, say, 5 or 6 years compared to, say, the past 12 months, and how things are starting to change, like locally as well as internationally?
Yeah, it's only a good thing, isn't it?
Yeah.
People getting paid to compete. Like Steve Henshaw's doing the Ikigai. It's fucking awesome. You can get 250, you can win 250 quid if you're just a coloured belt. £1,000 if you're a main event.
Yeah. And that's like just for submitting your opponent.
Yeah.
Like
just for doing what you're supposed to be doing.
Yeah.
If you look at, I'm not going to name any names. If you look at paying for competitions, how long is that going to be around for? Hopefully it sticks around.
Yeah.
You want to compete, but you want to be getting paid.
Yeah.
To be getting your limbs ripped off.
Yeah, I think there's definitely a big space. Jumping in there, I think there's a big space for like the paying to enter tournaments and having an amateur scene. Just because like I've seen like the amount of work that goes into preparing for them and things like that.
Money out of their business, you know what I mean?
And
they're putting the mats out, the referees, everything.
Yeah, it's a really big expense, but I think I think me personally, where the change needs to come is on these bigger single bout shows where
promoters keeping the money.
Where like I get it, you got to sell tickets to get ones on the streets, but you get like a lot of the time it's you're getting a £5 ticket or something like that, and it's if you're only gonna bring 5 people, then I think that's justified by the promoter. Where you kind of going, look, because it works the same in MMA. Promoters are only going to put you on the shows if you can sell tickets, because they've still got to see a return because it's a business for them. But I think there needs to be some sort of line now where if you're bringing on these people onto your shows and they're providing entertainment, there needs to be some sort of purse, whether it's each fighter splits the overall purse or there's a win bonus for like the submissions. Like, I agree, I love the way that Ikigai do it at the moment with if you win, you get the bonus. If there's no submission, it's a draw. It's fair play. And I think that puts a big kind of emphasis on fighting for that win. And I think it says a lot as well for the tournament that they're putting on next year. Don't know if you've seen it for the blue belts with a £5,000 prize for the winner. That's going to produce some fantastic matches because of the level of prize that's at the end of it.
Let's see who sticks around at blue belt and should be a purple.
That's it, yeah.
Sandbagging cunts.
Oh, there'll be fucking quite a few of those, to be fair. But yeah, I think it's only a good thing that you say. It gives the next generation of athlete an avenue they can go down, because prior to competitions paying for prize money, the only way to really kind of earn a living through this sport is through coaching. Sponsors.
Sponsors.
Yeah, like a lot of the time it's throwing a few bits of gear your way, unless you've built yourself up in the competition scene to be able to demand some sort of salary. Which when they get to that point, I personally believe they fucking deserve that.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think any brand should be able to come in and ride off the back of another athlete's success without fairly compensating them for it.
Yeah.
Even if they've been there from day one, they still need to pay for the right to sort of be there. But yeah, like prior to the competitions adding prize money, it's just coaching sponsors and instructionals. But unless you're top of the top, you're not really going to get the prize money matches.
You're in a minus.
You're
not even breaking even, are you?
Yeah, if that.
I'd really like to see a jiu-jitsu rule set among all rule sets.
Yeah.
One rule set, because it's so frustrating watching different rule sets because it's just holding the sport back.
Yeah.
Some guys at the top or girls at the top need to get together and say, let's just make it a 10-minute match. If you submit your opponent, you win. If you don't, it's a draw or a loss.
Yeah.
Or have one rule set like the CGI. Get some barriers up, because it's just craziness. You got 5-minute matches, 10, 15. When we even do the sport, we're confused. We're like, what are the rules?
Yeah.
We're like, I don't know. It's like, what do you mean we do it? Like, we do it almost every day. We don't know the rules.
Yeah.
So how's Joe Blogg supposed to get behind the sport and fucking rules are changing every week?
And it's like, and then it'll differ from like tournament to tournament. So like, say you got the ADCC, they've got their own rule set.
Yeah.
And then they make some changes which don't fucking make sense. Like for me, the takedown to turtling up, it doesn't like nullifies a takedown. Get to fuck. Like if I take someone down and they turtle up and stay on the ground for 5-10 seconds, I've taken them fucking down.
Yeah.
If I take them down, they turtle up and pop back to their feet within 3 to 5 seconds, I've not taken them down.
Yeah.
Like,
but they're making it complicated, aren't they?
Yeah.
Why are they doing that? I'm not sure why they're doing that.
I reckon it's just like
they're thinking that's the right thing to do, but it's just not. Just make it simple. Like the CGI, it's brilliant. 5-minute rounds, simple.
Yeah.
10-8, 10-9. Like if you just be rational and look at them matches compared to every other jiu-jitsu match last 10 years, they're the most exciting matches.
100%.
So just make the rule set like that. Get some padded walls up. If you chucked like if you were like an Empire or something like that and you chucked them on, that would blow up in terms of people wanting to do that rule set.
Yeah.
Like with the padded walls.
I can understand though from like say the tournament formats where the logistics of that might be difficult, like having the judges and like having the clarity as well for like say newer players. So I think like
but you could just trim the divisions down. You could just say there's only 5 matches per division.
Yeah.
We're going to do it over 2 days. You can do 3 5s against your opponent. Like we're going to cap it.
Yeah, I can see that working for like say like the bigger shows where there's like the individual matches again, or maybe like say like a CGI format where there's 2 big weight divisions and there's some sort of like a reason for them to sort of be there. I think there should be like a unified rule set for the tournament format without the need, for judges. Like still keep the points based system, but unify it across all the organisations.
Yeah.
So like
instead of that sub on there, just all these different ones.
Yeah. It's like because there will be a need for like the ref points and.
There's a need for a ref.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Bad enough with a ref. You fucking idiots jumping guys. Jumping scissors at fucking right back.
Pisses me off that. Yeah. Especially when I saw that video of that. I think he's a fucking collar belt or like he's a older black belt, and he fucking purposely jumps on that guy's knees, and it's like, what a twat. Like,
I can't stand though when like you can go out of bounds. It drives me nuts in competition because you're fucking competing on a fucking piece of turf.
Yeah.
You get hold of your opponent and it backs off, and the ref's like reset, and you're like, fucking reset, like.
Because that's where I like the ADCC rule on that, where if it goes off the mats and you're still scrambling, keep going. Because
make the mats bigger. Just make the mats bigger.
Yeah. Yeah. No, 100%. And But yeah, I definitely agree with you with, there needs to be some sort of like more unified rule set. Like, even if like, say we can have one across the UK, UK BJJ like pulled their heads together and was like, okay, we're gonna merge the ADCC, IBJJF, and what other organisations have a different rule set. We're gonna sit down. They've got enough fucking educated black belts and people involved in the committee of it to put together a good rule set.
Yeah.
Like, not everyone's going to agree with it, but if it's a unified one that all the regional competitions can get on board with, then I think it's going to really make a statement and make a massive change across the whole sport. And still keep the tiered rules as well, where like at white belt, there's certain things you can't do, blue belt, there's certain things. Once you get to purple belt and above, I think you're educated enough and you've trained enough to be able to basically get rid of the restrictions.
Yeah.
Obviously, keeping out the dangerous techniques like jumping guards and scissor takedowns. I don't really, for a local tournament in a sports hall, I don't think is necessary. Like, you're risking somebody else's knee who's got to fucking go to work the next morning. Like, have some common sense rules in there.
Yeah,
and then
I think you should get fined for shit ton as well. If you do something like that to your opponent, I think it should be bigger fines.
Yeah.
Like £1,000. If you're doing a scissor and can blow someone's knee,
yeah,
you should be fined £1,000.
I reckon even if you do it and land it perfectly, still get fucking fined.
Yeah.
Like,
jumping guard or anything shit like that.
Yeah. Because like one of the examples I use when it comes to like jumping techniques and things like when I'm sort of explaining why we don't do them is Josh Hinger and Mercedes Dinner's match. And he speaks about it on his podcast, where I think might have been edging the match or up on points or something, and he goes for a flying armbar in the last minute or two.
Hinger goes for it.
Yeah, Hinger goes for it. Dinner's throws him off. He lands on his head, and he gets concussed himself.
Yeah.
And he goes on to lose the match because of it. And it's like, the risks don't like outweigh the cons of this.
Yeah.
And what for? Fucking 10-second clip that's going to live, maybe go viral for about a week or something and going to be forgotten about.
Yeah.
Like, protect yourself as well as your opponents and stop trying to get that viral moment and just get a good fucking win and good performance.
Yeah, just ban jumping altogether.
Yeah.
Just get it there. Unless you're like elite level,
yeah,
you can jump.
Don't get me wrong, like CGI formats and like the major ADCC tournaments and stuff, maybe keep them in, but look at the intention. So if something bad does happen, hold that athlete accountable.
Yeah, I've done a comp once and someone did a jumping scissor, landed it. My knee, I did something to my knee that time as well. And I'm looking at the ref, and the ref just says, the band jumping scissors, and just lets the match carry on. While I'm defending an inside heel hook at blue belt.
Fucking.
And I'm like, and I end up submitting him, and I go over, I'm like, yeah, what the fuck? Like, it's a DQ that. You can't do a jumping scissor.
Yeah.
And the ref just shit his pants and not give it. It's like, if my foot's here instead of there, you fucking explode my knee.
Yeah. I think that's another thing as well, like the inconsistency with refereeing. Because don't get me wrong, I've come across some fantastic referees, but I've also come across some really, really shit ones. And the shit ones don't like being called out, and they will take it out on your athletes if you call them out on it.
I'd really like to see them be more verbal about stalling and pushing the action.
Yeah.
Like, if you're just collar tying and just gripping, stop them and say, grapple or get off the mat.
Yeah.
Like, that's your final warning. I want to see action.
And even down to, like, those fuckers who will take someone down and sit in your half guard or close guard. Once they've collected the takedown points, they'll sit there and look busy.
Yeah.
And not try and pass. They'll not try and engage. And then they'll walk off like they fucking won the world championships and they just sat there, took someone down and gone out there not to lose.
Disengaged, yeah.
It's like, I think the referees need to be pushing more on that as well. Because I've seen it happen to a couple of our lads where they've been working like fuck from close guard, attacking, looking for sweeps. The other person's just been shutting down, keeping the hips, backing off, coming back in, backing off, coming back in. And they've walked off like they've had like they've won something. It's like, no mate, you landed a takedown and you've done fuck all for the rest of the match.
Strip your grips out.
Yeah, like, fucking have a bit more self-awareness, and referees should be discouraging that kind of behaviour as well.
Definitely.
Because like I say, like I do know that like they are trying to bring up the standards of refereeing, like providing like regular courses and stuff now. But what's your take on whites and blue belts becoming referees?
Don't think they should be.
No.
Yeah, stop. Are they?
I think there are a few. I know there's a few competitions where they've got like minimum requirements, but I also have seen a few where there's no minimum requirements and they've got like inexperienced people refereeing.
It's worrying.
Yeah, like starters, it's very hard to understand what's going on in certain situations if you're not that experienced.
Yeah.
Like,
but even if you're in the presence of someone like Mark Goddard or yourself or someone that you know, you go onto the mat and the ref's got fucking ears like that.
Yeah.
You feel a little bit more comfortable.
Yeah.
Like I've done comps and there's been a 15-year-old girl in the middle of us and like something goes wrong here.
Yeah.
She's not doing it.
Yeah. I think there should be a bit more suitable, like, so like I say if there's heavyweight fucking like experienced category going on, have a heavyweight experienced referee. Don't have a lightweight, someone who can't sort of, because we've seen it, like jiu-jitsu matches do kick off sometimes.
Yeah.
A lightweight's not going to be able to get in the middle of two fucking 90 kilo blokes, 100 kilo blokes who are pissed at each other.
Yeah.
And, but yeah, because like, I've seen it with there was a viral clip that was going around. I'm going to name this competition as well because they've not changed the fucking ways. At the All Stars competition,
right,
where there was someone in the false reap position, the referee DQ'd them for reaping, and then even both competitors were like, "What the fuck? It's the false reap," and the ref still stuck to this decision. Another one,
as if it was reaping.
Right. And there was another. Well, there's been a couple of this takedowns resulting in DQs because they've been classified as slams. Right. And I'm talking double leg, really well fucking ran, landed, referee straight away, slamming. And it's like, are they supposed to pick them up, caress them, massage them, and then put them to bed gently and tuck them in? Or are we having a fucking fight here? Yeah. Like, is it a combat sport? Like, slamming to me is, if I was to sort of say run a double on you and I've got you securely on my shoulder and then I decide to jump and then jump into the takedown, that's a slam for me.
Yeah.
And also, if you're, say, putting me in a triangle and fucking rampage bombing you, that's a slam.
Again, it's the rules, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's the rules. I'd allow slams, personally. Because if you allow slams, if someone tries to jump in triangle, they're not going to do it.
No.
Or they're not going to jump guard.
No, if someone fucking jumps anything on me, I'm just fucking slamming them right now.
I know that sounds crazy, but
yeah,
they do it because they can.
Yeah.
Like if you ban them, people will train differently. I think they're not going to jump guard.
No.
Just going to get slammed on the bed, aren't they?
Yeah. Let's say, if you imagine someone's holding on to close guard, say they're on bottom, and you stand up and you have the ability to jump down and slam them onto the mat.
Yeah.
Like, they're going to engage differently when you start standing up from close guard.
Yeah, and when you do stand up, they hold on because they're stalling. Too.
Yeah.
So then they're just like, well, you can't slam me. I'll just hold my legs and play around with your ankles.
Yeah. See, I reckon I agree with that actually now you put that in. I think I do agree with slams being in. I think
out of submissions.
I think out of submissions as well. Like, because if you're going to allow me, if you put me in a triangle and I allow you to fucking lift me up above your head, I deserve to get fucking slammed, to be honest. If I can't hook underneath your leg and prevent you from attacking me or transition to another submission, then I fucking deserve to get slammed on my head.
Yeah.
Like, because I've made a shit decision.
Yeah. Yeah, sounds good, pal.
If you want, to round up with a couple of personal comp stories, and have you got any questions as well?
Do you want to do some the Q&As?
Yeah, let's do it. Yeah. Because we've got through I had a few questions for you. but we got through them pretty, like,
Yeah.
one of them was your personal competition routine and your favourite and least favourite competition experience.
Were they from the group?
No, they were from me then. That was interesting from you.
So, if you got your first competition in a few weeks, how would you deal with the nerves and also not gas out in the first 30 seconds?
That's a good one, that. For me, I think going back to what you said about kind of accepting the nerves are going to be there, preparing physically as best you can before the competition, and gassing out in the first 30 seconds can be, for me, one of two reasons. Either the adrenaline surge has come through and the adrenaline dumps happened when you've been on the mat, and secondly, you've not physically prepared for it. Like, if you're worried about gassing out in the first 30 seconds, realistically, you should be doing extra cardio, extra conditioning, extra rounds, and pushing your cardiovascular and muscular endurance system as best as you possibly can to make sure that that's not going to be something that crosses your mind.
Yeah.
And if it's the adrenaline side of things, I think finding a good warm-up routine really helps. Like you say, like, you're sure you felt the difference when you've done like a really hard warm-up beforehand. Because I always, like, when I've felt best is when I've done sprints beforehand, I've done burpees, I've got that first kind of breathlessness out of the way, and I've got into my second wind. Because I don't want to experience that first breathlessness when I've got somebody in front of me trying to beat me. I want to experience that while I'm building up for the match. I think having that solid warm-up routine beforehand and having a hard warm-up before will help with that gas in the 30 seconds. And yeah, with the nerves, one thing I used to do, and I stopped doing this when I hit purple belt, was if I entered any tournament, I'd look up every single opponent in my division.
Yeah.
And I'd put them on a pedestal above myself, and I'd put them on a pedestal above my training partners.
So you're suggesting not to do that?
Yeah, I'd say go out there and, like, if it's your first competition, and I'm assuming it's like white or blue belt, you don't need to research your opponents. You go out there and you play the same.
This guy's a higher belt.
Oh, is it higher belt? Oh, fair.
It's his first competition. I'm not saying it is.
I'd probably still say don't look too much into your opponent.
I'd agree.
Like, you're training week in, week out, and you're getting a good amount of success on the mats at home, and you're coming against a variety of people on your home mats where you're dealing with those situations and those problems on a regular basis.
Yeah.
So all that's going to happen is when you're looking into your opponent is you're going to look at what they're good at. You're going to look at their Instagram page or their social media, and all you're going to see is their successes.
The negatives outweigh the positives.
Yeah.
Always, I think, if you're looking up someone, like, just expect the toughest matches you're going to have. Rock up. Let them worry about you. You focus on yourself.
Yeah. And, like, I always call that, like, the Mike Tyson effect. Like, Mike Tyson would always beat his opponents before they got into the ring.
Yeah.
Because they were scared and worried about what he'd do to them.
Yeah.
So you're allowing your opponents to have that same effect on you by looking into them and looking at what they're going to do to you, rather than going in there, being Mike Tyson, and going, I don't give a fuck what you can do, because I'm still going to beat you.
Yeah.
And approaching it with that kind of mindset.
Yeah. I think if it's your first comp, this guy is higher than a blue belt, he's decent. I'd think about how do you get on with the higher belts in the gym very well. Get on with them very well. You've subbed a few of them. If you're worrying about gassing in 30 seconds, it's not something you do in the gym.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure why that would happen in comp. Obviously, a lot of things are different. It's competition. The mats are different. The colours are different in your peripheral. Referees there. There's a crowd there. But if you can just think about what game are you going to play.
Yeah.
Maybe play guard for 3 minutes. Maybe you build into the match.
Yeah.
That's something that I like to do. I don't like to go full out for 2 minutes. I like to kind of build a steady pace. Whether it's 5, 8 minutes. That's a bit smart, I'd suggest.
Oh, definitely.
But the guy's not going to be gassing in 30 seconds.
No.
How do you not get into your own head and perform at your best also not let self-doubt affect you. What mentality is needed?
I think with that is, like I said again, accepting that there's going to be an element where you do get into your own head. Like, at the end of the day, we're human, and we can't escape the fact that our brains are much more fucking powerful than we like to give power to. Like, you are going to overthink it. You are going to worry about it. The best thing that I personally found for this is learning how to manage it. So if you feel, say, anxiety coming on when it's thinking, do a bit of research, find some anxiety coping mechanisms.
Yeah, of what anxiety is.
Yeah.
Pretty normal thing to have anxiety.
100%. Like, everyone experiences it. Everyone's got different ways to sort of deal and process it. And I think, yeah, finding your ways to deal with that bit of anxiety and how to get out of your own head is going to be much more important than trying not to get in your own head and trying not to experience those emotions. Because I think it's really important that we do experience that, because we're only going to grow from it.
Yeah.
Like yourself.
Again, I think people put in that bracket that it's really important. That it's from a white belt, that question. And I think what you've got to ask is, what's performing at your best to you? Because that's going to be different for everyone.
Yeah.
To me, performing at my best is not getting a gold medal. It's not getting applause from acquaintances and strangers online that here's my post-match medal picture. It's not to impress people in the gym. It's just have a good performance and enjoy the process. If you take out social media and you pretend that no one's going to find out what you're going to do, how would you perform? If you're going to go into a phone box and compete like that, you're not going to think about it half as much.
No.
So just, even I've told students before, don't post anything about your competition, or even think about have that mindset that you're not going to tell anyone about the competition, and just compete. And if you win or lose and you feel like posting about it, why? Like, they weren't even there to begin with.
Yeah.
So why are you posting about it?
Yeah.
Just go and do it and enjoy the experience. And stop obsessing about how you're going to perform.
Oh, 100%. Like, I think, like, say, you hit the nail on the head there with enjoying the performance and the process a lot more than chasing an outcome.
Yeah.
Like, if you chase the outcome, your success is going to be attached to the win or the loss.
And also seeking validation from others.
Yeah.
For competing in jiu-jitsu. When if every event you do or everything you do in your life is for other people, or to seek validation for likes, or hey, look at me, I got a gold medal, like, you're gonna end up pretty unhappy.
Yeah.
Because there's gonna come a time, like me now, my knees fucking exploded. I'm not gonna compete for a long time, but I'm okay in myself that I don't need external validation.
Yeah.
Or I've got to compete because I've got to post about it, or I've got to be seen to be competing. It's like, no one really cares, do they?
No.
Like we said at the start, 5 people are going to be there, maybe a bit more, maybe a bit less. It's about your own individual needs for competing, isn't it? It's competition. No one gives a shit.
Yeah, that's it. Like, the only person who cares is yourself and the person facing you.
Yeah.
And it's a grim reality, but you got to accept it. 2 people walk on, only one can walk away the winner. Like,
yeah, go on, mate.
Oh, sorry, yeah, I'd say some days you'll have your days, some days you won't. But regardless, it's the bit in between the start and the end that's the most important bit, not the end result.
If you're not a professional doing this, why does it matter? It really doesn't matter at all. It's literally amateur competition.
Yeah.
I know we've said it quite a bit that nobody cares. Genuinely, nobody cares on a Monday morning whether you got a gold medal at a jiu-jitsu competition or not.
Yeah.
Nobody cares if you got submitted in 30 seconds. Only you. It matters as much as you think it does. If you're a professional and you compete every week, still wouldn't matter that much because you're getting the reps in.
Yeah.
For the bigger shows.
Oh, 100%.
And that's what a lot of people think. Don't realise too, is that a lot of the superstars in jiu-jitsu have competed on local shows hundreds of times and lost to average Joes. And then when they compete on the big stage, people are like, wow, they're doing really good, but they don't see the years and years and years and years of white, blue, purple, brown.
The old iceberg analogy. You only see the tip of the iceberg when it rises to the top. You don't see the work underneath that's happened before that. And I think another way to look at it as well is it's just exactly the same as going to an open mat at another gym.
Yeah.
Like, especially if you don't know anybody there, you're rolling against someone who doesn't know your skill set and doesn't know you. You don't know their skill set, you don't know them. You're in an unfamiliar environment. Sometimes, depending on the gym, it can be a bit of a hostile environment. And you wanting to display your skills and test your skill set against people you don't know. And if you kind of approach it with that same mindset as well, then you're going to take much more from it. So like, and if this person isn't like, you don't regularly go to other open mats or other gyms and sort of test yourself in that way, I think that would be something that I'd suggest starting as well, is getting outside of your comfort zone and getting down to neighbouring gyms for the open mats, whether it's going with a couple of teammates or just rocking up by yourself.
Yeah, I'd probably say that more so.
Yeah.
Going by yourself.
Yeah.
And just get really nervous and just go onto a completely new mat. Just to reiterate, like, how would you perform if you didn't tell anyone you were going to compete, and also you weren't going to post about it after, because that's the pressure you're putting on yourself. I've got to get a gold medal because I've got to post about it, but no one gives a shit, do they?
No.
It's just people, well done, right, on to the next one, and then you lose, and then you feel bad because you couldn't post about it.
Yeah.
I only know that because people tell me. They tell me all the time. I didn't get a gold medal, I feel really bad. Well, you got silver.
It's still an achievement, and I think it takes away from the achievement of actually stepping on the mat competitively, win or lose. Like, that's a really hard step to take anyway. And I think we make it a lot harder on ourselves with the extra pressure that we put on ourselves with it.
Yeah, telling teammates I'm competing in X amount of time and this is what I'm doing, and people asking you what weight are you, what bracket you're doing. And you're always talking about it, and by the time you get there, you're a little bit burnt out, and some people can be. Yeah,
and it becomes like part of how you identify as opposed to just something you're doing. And then if it becomes that part of your identity, then you're going to attach a lot more like emotion and stuff like that, like, to the actual result. Again, rather than the process and the actual process of getting better, because that's the only reason we really want to compete, is are we getting better compared to our peers outside of the gym?
Yeah, and also I would say, if you are serious about competing, are you training like a competitor?
Yes.
Or are you half-assed in training?
Yeah.
And then you sign up to compete, you're getting really nervous because you know you're not dialed in.
Yeah.
If you're, hey, let's tap hands and I play guard, and then you get on top, that's not being a competitor.
No.
Being a competitor is, right, I'm rolling. This is what I'm working on.
Yeah.
I'm getting to these positions. I'm going to ask the coach for feedback. I'm training X amount of times per week. I'm gonna do it regardless of how I feel. I'm gonna do the hard sessions. Not, we're just rolling. See how it goes.
Yeah, no, that's never a way to take competition seriously. Like, you can progress that way outside of competition.
Yeah.
But it's going to be a different type of progression, and it might be a little bit slower as well.
Yeah. And the steroids too. That's I'd say about 15 years ago, I had a girl ask me about growth hormone, about taking it, and that made me realise a lot more normal people are taking it than just people in sport.
Yeah.
And if you're competing against, I'd say, blue belt and above, I don't think there's too many white belts in the juice.
No,
probably is.
Don't think so just yet, anyway.
But yeah, think about that too. That there's a lot of people you think are not doing it that are doing it.
Oh, yeah.
Like, if you're clean, like, I'm telling you, there's a lot of people that are not. And if they're competing quite regularly, it's out there more than you think.
Yeah, I've just been listening to Josh Saunders talk about that. I'm about halfway through it now, and it's it's right. Like, and he's just saying, like, he'll dissuade people away from it because they don't know what they're doing. They're potentially risking their own health.
Yeah.
But also, it's kind of like, if you're going to compete at the high level, you have to accept that the vast majority of people at the high level are on something.
Yeah, and I think that ties into if you're looking at peers that are training twice a day, 5 days a week, and working full time. They're probably on something because that's not normal.
No.
And
especially if they're able to maintain muscle mass or even gain muscle mass at the same time. And
it's not a system you should be trying to follow and just train as much as you can. You're just going to break down.
Because like those professionals who are training 2-3 times a day, 5, 6, 7 days a week sometimes, in between those sessions, they're resting. In between those sessions, they're refueling, like making sure their body's getting well rested, and they're not training hard for all those 3 sessions. Like the morning session might be light rounds, the next session, the lunchtime session might be some technique, and the evening session might be hard rounds.
And you genuinely don't know what they're taking.
No.
You have no idea. Like you could be taking 5 different steroids. You have no idea. It might not just be one. Most likely it's not one.
No.
Any more you want to cover, mate?
Well, I think that's there, mate. Nice one, mate.
We're going to see each other a lot, aren't we?
That's it, yeah, mate. Definitely. Jump in weekly.